Under reports. Okay. Staff report.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay. Nobody missing. Okay.
Oh yeah, it is actually. It's 1 minute. It's 1 minute past. Yeah. You got 4:56.
I don't have my phone.
4:57. 4:57. 4:57.
Right on.
You really got no coach. Huh?
You what?
He resigned.
Yeah, I heard. Heard last night.
You know what the rumor is? Wardell. Number 85. 110 hurdler champ. Clemson Tiger. That would be nice.
That's where's he at?
Tennessee, and has been an assistant for a long, long time.
That's cool.
He and I had a little talk the other day. He hates Derek Brooks. Remember the Hall of Famer, the 10th favorite? He said if Derek Brooks wasn't born at the same time, he would have went to Florida State and been that guy. But it was a funny conversation. You know, he's a freak of nature.
Oh yeah.
I didn't realize that until I got into college. I went to get a water.
You have to have.
That's how my day's been going.
Mine too.
Oh, good.
Very good. Donna's toward along.
Hey, Donna's sort of long? No. Why would Commissioner sort of long be here? What's that?
National Trauma Awareness.
From where?
Trauma Awareness.
Chairman.
What's up?
There might be somebody else here.
Well, yeah, that's true.
Capitan. Sigur.
5 o'clock here. Call this meeting to order. Commissioner Byrd, please lead us in invocation.
Father God, we come before as humble as we know how. Father, we ask you would grant us the wisdom and the knowledge that we need on today, that you will cover those that have authority over us. We pray for the president. We pray for the officers, God. We pray that you will give us the mindset that we need to get a job done. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
This is a regular meeting of the Hendry County Board of County Commissioners being held on Tuesday, May 23, 2017 at 5 p.m. in the County Commissioner Chambers in LaBelle, Florida. In attendance are Chairman Michael Swindle, Vice Chairman Darrell Harris, Commissioner Emma Byrd, Commissioner Mitchell Wills, Commissioner Carson Turner, County Administrator Charles Chapman, County Attorney Mark Lapp, and Clerk Barbara Butler.
Thank you very much. We have nothing under bids. We'll go straight to consent agenda. Does anyone have anything to pull or a motion?
Move to accept.
Motion moved by Commissioner Harris, second by Commissioner Turner to accept the consent agenda. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That motion carries. Moving on to awards and appearances. The first thing we have is a National Trauma Week proclamation. Is Commissioner Storter along here? Don't see her. Is anyone else here from the trauma awareness? Okay. All right. Well, then we'll let the record show that we do have a proclamation. We need to do anything else with it? Good?
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
There's a motion to approve by Commissioner Turner, second by Commissioner Harris. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That motion carries. The next thing we have are the key facts about secondhand smoke from the Healthier Henry Glades Task Force and the SWAT students.
They're here.
Yeah, awesome. Y'all come on up. Good evening. How are y'all?
Good. How are you?
Great.
Hello, my name is Crystal Gomez. I'm the tobacco prevention specialist, and I'm just going to introduce our SWAT youth, and they'll give you a little presentation. So, this is Lauren Adams, Kamari Turner, and Lily Paniagua. I'll be holding this up for them.
As Crystal mentioned, I'm Lauren. Today we're going to be...
Yeah, you speak in the microphone. Thank you.
Okay, hi. Today we're going to be presenting facts and some signatures supporting the smoke-free car and vehicles and everything. So I'm a little nervous, sorry.
Oh, that's fine. You're doing great.
And so, yeah, let's get this started. Some effects in children that are around secondhand smoking are asthma attacks, ear infections, upper respiratory symptoms and infections, and SIDS, which is sudden infant death syndrome. 2 out of 5 children are affected from ages 3 to 11, according to a study in 2011 and 2012. 2 of the 2 children out of the 5 are minorities. So, yeah.
Awesome.
Hi, I'm Kamari Turner. I'm going to tell you the states and territories that have smoke-free laws. There are 9 states and territories that have smoke-free car laws. There are Arkansas, Louisiana, Puerto Rico, California, Maine, Utah, Oregon, Vermont, and Virginia.
In these states, each of these states consider a child differently. Some of them consider ages 13 and under or 18 and under. In Hendry County, we're trying to push for 18 and under because in most households, the children are most likely going to pick up their parents' habits. So if a parent is smoking tobacco or using tobacco, the children are most likely going to do it as well. So we're trying to get it 18 and under.
My name is Lily. Can I put this down?
Sure.
Okay. The CDC suggested several things to protect yourselves and your family members from secondhand smoke. Among them, to not smoke in vehicles with the windows rolled down. A majority of adults participated in a survey by the CS Mott's Children's Hospital survey, and they all favored not to smoke in cars with people under the age of 18. We collected signatures, and the signatures were collected over a 1-year course from May 2016 to May 2017. And in total, we got 867 signatures from Hendry County residents, both LaBelle and Clewiston. Now we filled you up with knowledge on secondhand smoke, but I have a personal statement about secondhand smoke because victims of secondhand smoke aren't just numbers. Because I have a friend who developed a abnormal heartbeat due to a smoker near her bus stop, and they really didn't know what was causing it, so they made her describe her procedure from the moment she woke up to to when she went to bed, and it all concluded that it was because of the man standing near her bathtub that she was exposed to secondhand smoke. So that's something to take in consideration, because secondhand smoke is very effective. It will be affected to you when you least expect it, because I'm pretty sure that my friend never expected it to be secondhand smoke. So.
Thank you, Lily.
I'm back. As Lily, I also have an experience. My grandpa smokes a lot, and when we were in the car, he never really thought to roll the windows down. Well, because of that, me and my brother both have allergies to it, and we always get stuffy noses. We always sneeze and cough and everything else, and it's a horrible feeling, because even if we're outside of the car, the allergies are still acting up, and it's horrible. So now he's not allowed to smoke in the car anymore. Also, we're trying to include e-cigarettes in this resolution as well, so we're hoping that will get on there.
And we'd like to thank you for your time, and we also have some swap pens for you all. So
Awesome.
for you to,
Y'all want to come stand in front and take a picture with us? Can we all stand up? Thank you very much. Yeah, right. Thank you.
thank you.
Y'all did very well.
You did awesome. Yes, it was Ms. Adams, Ms. Turner, and Lily. It takes a lot of courage to come here and take a stand, so thank you for doing that. And Ms. Gomez, I know what it takes to lead students and to take a stand and spend your time, so thank you for what you do as well.
Thank you.
Very grateful y'all are here. Next on the agenda is a 2017 legislative recap. Mr. Joe Spratt of Spratt & Associates.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members. 2017 legislative session was by far the most unusual, frustrating, complicated, and non-transparent, as it was supposed to have been, of any that I've been involved in the past 21 years. Many key votes on key issues were traded simply for appropriation projects to a member that was not in favor of that project, but therefore they voted for it. I have provided several different accounts in this report of the accounts which transpired during this session, taking credit for none of these, simply providing the information. This report will not be complete due to the following facts. The governor has only been presented approximately 106 of the 249 bills that passed. Therefore, we do not know the final outcome of many. The governor has not been presented the budget or many of the substantive pieces of legislation. The governor has not prepared his veto list, nor at least presented it, although we are hearing this as of today that his staff and the governor are reviewing. But the budget has still not been presented to him, but he can see it just like we all can. The county-by-county appropriation list has not been created. And even Tax Watch Turkey's list, which usually comes out immediately after session, is now stated to be released Friday at noon. Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, I have reached the twilight years of my life. I turned 70 in March, and it's time for me to slow down and lighten my workload. Therefore, I will be completing my service to Hendry County at the end of my current contract date of July 31st, 2017. I was recently reflecting on the changes in Hendry County and thinking of my past public service. 7 years as City Commission, 8 years on this board, and subsequently 8 years of service in the state legislature representing Hendry County. Since 1964, Hendry County has only had two, resident representatives. My father, from 64 to 66, and myself from 96 to 04. Hopefully, we did some great things for this city, county, and the state that I have been privileged to call home since 1948. Public service can be humbling. It can also at times be frustrating as well as extremely rewarding if done for the right reasons. It doesn't have room for ego, pride, or self-financial enrichment. To the contrary, humbleness, pragmatism, and sacrifice are the cornerstones of true public service. I am extremely proud of my public service. May all of you be as proud of yours. I think about how Tallahassee has changed since my time in office, as well as during the 11 years that I have been asked to work there on behalf of this board. And I thank you for the opportunity to have represented Henry County as your governmental consultant. My son Jim will be acquiring Spratt & Associates. And I want to thank him for all of his assistance and hard work with any or all of my current clients. I will remain available for counsel and advice to him, for a fee, of course. While I am slowing down, I plan to stay connected to local happenings as well as happenings in Tallahassee. I intend to stay active in political process, and who knows, one day I may be back in politics. Jim will present the rest of the report. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Spratt.
Commissioners, that's a tough act to follow. I will be very brief as we've provided a full, detailed report on what we tracked, what passed, what the governor has to sign. Of note, specific to Henry County, on the appropriations process, pending governor signature, we were able to make through the budget about $445,000 for the Henry County Fairgrounds. I know that's a project near and dear to Commissioner Turner's heart and others on this board as well. There was $1 million for the service of Fort Deneau Bridge, which also serves a critical need that bridge stay up and running, and it's desperately in need of maintenance. Lastly, on an individual appropriation, we had $1 million appropriated to the Everglades facility. More to come on that after the governor's budget, or after the governor's veto. From a policy standpoint, I think there's really 3 bills that I want to point out that are very specific and important to Henry County, and it was from the direction we received from you to work on. Number 1 is House Bill 1351. That bill dealt with the implementation of the renewable energy constitutional amendment that passed during the last election cycle. As you know, we are well on our way to having some solar and renewable energy in this county, and there was a great concern that we may lose the ability to collect ad valorem or TPP tax on that. I have to stop right now and thank the House and Senate sponsors of said bills, Majority Leader Ray Rodriguez and Senator Jeff Brandes, for their commitment to work with us. And as the bill passed and it went to the governor, there is language in there that protects Henry County's existing projects that are in the pipeline, so that we will be able to get the ad valorem and TPP tax from those projects. And also, as an added bonus, as the bill passed, there was a provision put in there that would allow us to collect 20% of the ad valorem and TPP value on all commercial scale projects. That would apply to everybody, not just Henry County, but there is an additional recapture on commercial projects. So moving forward through the lifetime of the amendment, it's not a zero-sum game for Henry or any other county. Secondly, an issue that was hot and heavy, especially even when the county came up to visit, was Senate Bill 10. This was the act relating to water resources. It was Senator President Negron's #1 priority. Many of you would remember as it started, it purported to buy a bunch of land, about 66,000 acres of land for southern storage. Using eminent domain or other things were part of that original bill. As it ended up, we end up with a bill that has no purchase of private farmlands. We have a bill that focuses Everglades restoration using existing state properties, specifically the A2 and the C51 reservoir. By all accounts, it's a win for Everglades restoration, but it's also a win for Hendry County, the surrounding farm communities of South Bay, Clouston, LaBelle, and others, as well as a win for Florida's ag industry, as there are no private lands coming out of the payroll under Senate Bill 10, which is a huge change from where it started. Lastly, looking forward, a measure passed this year to go on the 2018 ballot. This would add another $25,000 to the homestead exemption. Interestingly, as the bill passed, it's not a consecutive exemption. It applies to the different bands, basically the first band, the third band, and the fifth band. So 0 to 25, 50 to 75, and 100 to 125 would be exempt under the language that will appear on the ballot in 2018. Now, what's equally important to note there is that the implementing bill tied to that constitutional amendment would provide essentially a hold harmless, not a dollar for dollar hold harmless, but a hold harmless to fiscally constrained counties like Hendry. The multiplier would be such that you would receive 95% of the 2017 or 2018 ad valorem tax rolls or future tax rolls, whatever is the lesser value. But there is some mechanism to recoup some of the dollars back. It's not a 100% win. It's certainly not the whole apple, but it was better than not having any implementing language. We expect and are fully prepared that going into the next session, which starts in January, which means committee meetings start again in September, right around the corner, that there will be some additional work and refinement on the implementing language tied to that constitutional amendment. And with that, if there's no other specific questions, please review the report. It's very detailed, and we'd be happy to answer questions after the fact. Thank you.
Any questions? No. Thank you, Mr. Spratt. Moving right along to public hearings. The first thing we have is petition number SE 17-001.
Good evening, Commissioners.
Good evening.
This is a request from Cross Training Ministries to amend their special exception that was approved in 2004. The request specifically asked to delete the required buffers that were imposed at that time, and staff conducted a site visit and saw that there were existing berms and vegetation that acts as a buffer already, and asking them to provide buffers.
Yes, sir.
I appreciate the heads up on everything that we've got in our packet. Was there anything that you wanted to point out that was different from what you already have for us? And would you be okay with entertaining a motion, Mr. Chairman?
Absolutely, please do.
Okay. I make a motion so much to approve. Option 1, that you have allow the elimination of the buffers subject to your conditions in the resolution.
Second.
Motion moved by Commissioner Turner, second by Commissioner Wills.
Public hearing. Public hearing.
This is a public hearing. Is any members of the public wish to address this issue? Seeing none. Any discussion from the board?
Yeah, I don't know why Cross Training Ministries doesn't have cattle out there making more money for them and making those kids act better. That's the only thought process.
I think they tried that, but they ate them.
Okay. That's it. That's my only comments, Mr.
Got
Chairman.
it. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of this motion say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That motion carries. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Hemlich.
You're welcome.
You want to keep going?
Yes, sir.
Second is RZ 17-0001.
Yes, this is a rezone from the RG2M district to the C3 high intensity commercial. The purpose of this is an expansion of the existing Gator Golf Cart project that is located at the corner of State Road 80 and Double J Acres Road. The staff has recommended approval. The local planning agency also recommended that the board approve the project.
Second.
Motion moved by Commissioner Harris and second by Commissioner Turner. This is a public hearing. Is there members of the public wish to address this issue? Seeing none. I tried to poke around a little bit. Is David Parker the owner? Is that correct? Are they here? Is the owners here? I see Mr. Bennett. I was just wondering. The owners are not here. The owners of the petition.
No. He was at the planning board meeting and said he was going to be here tonight.
Okay. No, that didn't matter. This is a new business moving into town, right? It is not. They're relocating.
It's an expansion of the existing.
Okay. Gotcha. Awesome. I'm glad they're expanding. Any members of the board have any discussion?
Whose district is this? This whole corridor is going to become commercial, isn't it?
Yes.
That's the pattern,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. That's. But I mean, in your opinion, that's not a bad thing with the way that you're kind of laying that all out. I mean, that's the growth that you anticipate, right, Ms. Embridge?
Well, it is, but that's part of the reason why on my recommended amendments to our code is to address that development so that it occurs in a well-planned way, as opposed to we have the more recent rezonings to C3 have been on properties that are a couple acres, and really that's not an appropriate size for a high-intensity commercial use. So what we've recommended to the board previously in our workshop was to pursue a corridor, State Road 80 corridor plan or study, and we are in the process of putting together a scope and looking for funding.
So that, Mr. Chair, that would mean, in what I think I'm understanding you saying, is that you would put together a 50,000 foot or 100,000 foot picture, you would give that to a hired gun, and then let them come back, or maybe you would put it out on the streets for a number of people to give you a price of what it would be to give an overlay look and drill down. Is that right?
Well, we already have a consultant that we've asked a consultant to provide us a proposal. It's one of the planning firms that was previously approved as part of our RFQ. And so we were asking for a scope from them, and they have a sub-consultant with Tetra Tech as well. So once we get that scope from them, we'll look at, actually I'm going to be expanding on it to submit for grants, because I want to include different adding phases to it, so that it would then be something we take forward on the segment of State Road 80 on the east side of LaBelle over to Clewiston, and looking in providing or accommodating our Sun Trail and our greenways pathways plan along State Road 80 that would be accommodated just within the right-of-way, not on private property. But with our recent discussions with different state agencies, they want to see that as well, and they've actually put State Road 80 on their maps for Sun Trail and the greenways as a connection to from east-west and on up to Okeechobee that they had been looking for.
Have you found a solution for the driveways?
No, sir, and that would be one of the assessments that would be done through this study.
That's the biggest thing on 80.
And I agree with that. I wish we could take care of that sooner than later.
Yeah, Mr. Robbins with the DOT at the DEO meeting that we had that day, he was aware of it and was looking in, and they were starting to think about it as well.
Yes.
Well, Ms. Embledge, I don't pretend to be able to drill down on that, but that can't be much beyond, I would think, a $500,000 ask from the DOT to get that plan on paper and how you want to see those driveways actually. They already have a specification of what they want to see based on traffic density.
Correct.
So now it's just a question of getting District 1 to allocate. But don't you think, Ms. Embledge, two questions. Number one, do you think that this is something that, in your professional opinion, rises to top 3 or 4 things that Margaret Embledge would like to see done for Hendry County as our growth patterns are looking at right now? That's my first question.
Absolutely. It's probably the top.
Okay, that's important then. So secondly, then you already answered my second question, which is, and do you want us to start pushing forward? So then my next question to you is, if you would please give our administrator an idea of what you think that would cost with visiting with your colleague Shane Parker, and then allow us to put that to the top of the request list, because in just the 9 or 8 years that I've been a commissioner, the amount of commercial growth that I've seen on that corridor, and then being able to easily see a forecast of, that's one of those areas where infrastructure needs to be developed, because when people are coming in and out, they're kind of looking at that and saying, man, I could come and invest. I'm just a hop, skip, and a jump to downtown Lee County, and that could be something that really pays dividends, I think, for Hendry County moving down the road. but it needs to be done correctly. It doesn't need, and I've heard Commissioner Harris and I've heard everyone actually on this board talk about the fact, the danger and getting on and off of 80 and all that stuff. But as 80 expands, we need to be ready for that.
All right. Well, some of the aspects that we'd be looking at, quite honestly, is to have a restriction on anybody that came in for new development or rezoning, that they would have to meet the FDOT 660 separation, and in order to gain access to State Road 80, they'd have to have interconnections with their neighbors.
Which can be ridiculously expensive if they're getting in on the way back in.
Absolutely. Yes, it's not a perfect situation, but that would be the ideal approach to this, would be to overlay it with that requirement and that they have the interconnections.
I think a lot of them would donate land just to get out of that one driveway.
That's correct. You can require them to provide access easements along the frontage.
And the only way you're going to take care of that is have another road.
Got to be somewhere.
Service road.
And
Right.
Can we? I hate to do this,
Yeah,
but
It's okay.
and we definitely need to talk about this. But I don't want anyone to think that this is reflective on this business or this motion
No,
that we're
it's
talking.
not.
It's
Okay.
absolutely not.
Sorry, Mr. Chair.
No.
Gotcha.
But we do need to continue talking, and we do need to make sure that Ms. Simblage is clear that this is a priority on our behalf as well.
Yes, we're proceeding with it.
Any further discussions? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Anyone disagree? Motion carries. Thank you, Ms. Simblage. Any questions over correspondence?
Did
We have one we got to take action on.
Did we have any question on the voter improvement fund? Listen, I don't have a problem with that not being split 50-50 every year. I got a really good email. What does that mean? Does that mean that?
Yeah.
So,
Well,
Ms. Davis, does this mean?
Clewiston
What does that
hadn't
mean?
used- Clewiston didn't use their funding.
From last year, they're building up, and they're getting ready to ask for that as well as the half for this year, is what I was told.
So anyway, the way it is right now, if they take all their money, there's 30, and all we need is 14,390.
Okay.
Which is their half, which is
Yeah.
good.
Good. So they'll have roughly 49
30.
that they've put into the 24 you said from last year.
Right, and
Plus another
15.
15.
Right.
Okay.
So they'll have a
Okay.
good chunk of money.
Yep.
All right, and then with what LaBelle's making their request, there's plenty of money in the account to meet that request.
Yeah,
And we're good.
plus it's only
Good.
half.
I'll make a motion to approve the request that was given to us.
Motion moved by Commissioner Turner, second by Commissioner Byrd. Is there any further discussion?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Can we please get some sort of correspondence to the board that that shows us that the city of Clewiston is acknowledging and is going to give us a layout of what in the world they're doing with it. We're not just giving them a check.
I already have had correspondence with City Manager Al Perry. His Public Works Director is working on the schematics and the different plans and owes that to me by the end of the month.
Okay, so they're on it.
It shouldn't take a year, though.
I'm not going to say anything anymore. Appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
They tell Al.
Any
Perry-
questions over correspondence FYIs? Seeing none, we'll go straight to staff reports.
Tell Mr. Perry if you don't use it, we don't use it.
Put it in the bell, won't you? It'll lay sod.
Honorable Chairperson, members of the board, the first item under staff reports is the exercise the extension option with K&M Drugs for inmate pharmaceutical services within the competitively bid and awarded contract. We do have the option that states upon reaching the end of the second year of the agreement, June 30th, 2017, the parties may mutually agree in writing to extend the agreement for one additional year.
I make a motion for us to approve the one-year extension.
Second.
Motion moved by Commissioner Turner, second by Commissioner Wills. Is there any discussion?
I just ask that, y'all gave us a 24 of the 49. I don't know if y'all want to give a little bit more of a detailed audit and just ask them to tighten up if need be. That's it.
Okay. Any further discussion?
Amen.
Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That motion carries. Thank you. Mr. Chapman?
Chairperson and members of the board, the second item under staff reports is upon the request of the board at the last meeting is a staff report for reviewing of the lobbying services contract for state legislative issues. There's quite a bit of context within the report itself. I can go through it ad nauseum if you would like. However, there is a county comparison so you can see what other counties of our size, a little bit larger, a little bit smaller, what they're doing. It's all over the board. It's really at your discretion. as far as what you would like to do. I have provided to you 4 alternatives for your consideration. It really is, what does the board wish to do? The current contract with Spratt & Associates expires on July 31st, 2017. That is with Spratt & Associates LLC. That is not with any individual within Spratt & Associates. It's
Okay.
a company, just to make sure that is clear for the board. Alternative A is both parties mutually agree to renew for an additional year. That is allowed. Alternative B is both parties mutually agree to renew for an additional year but negotiate various terms and conditions as desired. Alternative C would be to allow the current existing agreement to expire on July 31st, 2017, and then authorize staff to go out and competitively go through the procurement process. Or alternative D is to direct staff to do an internal analysis and bring back a over and under expense report of what it would take to go internally with lobbying services. So,
Okay. Well,
board's discretion, sir.
okay, well, thank you. You did a great job putting this together. I think just in lieu of the events that have taken place and where we are, I think that it's time for us to look at alternative C. Let's look at alternative bids. Let's look at competitive bids. If Spratt Associate wishes to engage in that, then that's their right to do so, and we'll absolutely entertain that as well. Can't move it as a board, as a
Mr. Chair?
member, but I will if I need to.
Mr. Chair?
Yes, sir. Wait, did I say that wrong?
No. So you want to engage in alternative C. You want to open it back up.
Yes.
The only thing I'm worried about is I don't want a tremendous amount of time to be taken from staff to develop an RFP. We all know how liquid the process is for lobbying. I think that Charles did a great job this year whenever we said we'd like to have some parameters put around and just at least a framework, created. I think that, the concept of a weekly update as it goes through session, a pre-session, a post-session, and then on an as-needed basis, if they want to, if said lobby contractor were to give us, okay, you call me in the dead of August, and we're 6 months out in front of session, and you're going to want me to jump on this red flag, that we hear that's fire that's getting ready to start, then that may potentially start the meter running, or they're going to say no, that's in there. But I don't think this needs to be a great drawn out process where we're recreating the wheel. There's a tremendous amount of people that are already doing this, and I think that what you've already done from what staff has already done from a research standpoint is y'all clearly have an understanding of what you're thinking as well. So that's it.
When you look at the report, it's all over the place.
Yeah.
It's up here.
If you look at like what Martin County's not that much bigger than us.
Mm-hmm.
It is amazing how much money they spend, But
then you look at some of the rest.
You look at what they reap back in, and you go, man, they justify that money tenfold.
Yep.
Same thing could be said with our grants department. We have Miss Papanaw and her shadow, and then like another human or something that maybe she throws stuff to from time to time, and then everybody just kind of picks up stuff, and they all wear a number of different hats when they're trying to push something out the door. But once again, if you look at that list of things that they bring back in, it's paying for it. So we need to hire 5 people in our grants department, and we're going to get $1 back on every one of them. So that's it.
If you look at Okeechobee, it's $28,000.
Yep.
Mr. Chair, what I most likely will do, depending on the will of the board, is I know of another county about our size, DeSoto County, who just went through the competitive bid process last year. It won't take much for me to call Mandy Hines, their county administrator, steal her homework, take that RFP, just do a little custom work on it, put it out on the street, and get this thing moving.
That's legal in the real world. You can't do it in elementary or high school.
Just make sure we get all that information way ahead of time.
That's right. We haven't need a formal motion to that effect.
I make a motion to exercise option C,
Okay.
and just with the concept of you guys aren't going to, this isn't something that you're going to have to beat yourself up over to get it to the table.
Okay,
Yeah.
awesome. Motion moved by Commissioner Turner. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Harris. Any further discussion from the board? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Anyone second the motion, or all those opposed say aye. Motion carries. Thank you very much. Open grants report. Ms. Papanaw?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and honorable commissioners. This is my quarterly report for the second quarter of 2016-17 budget year. Right now we monitor me and my shadow, we monitor, and Jennifer too. It's 47 open grants at the value of $142,751,792. That was the value of the grants when we got them. We've received a lot of money from those in reimbursements as we go along, and we've closed out some this year, including the foundation for the historic courthouse. So if you have any questions, I gave you a summary of all the grants.
Okay. Thank you very much.
No, it's a lot of work, a lot to keep up with. I know every time I come in your office, there's stacks of more waiting, and it's a lot.
I cleared off my desk today just to say I did.
I have
Any
questions.
questions? Yes, sir. Go right ahead.
On number 4 on the Dallas Townsend Center, the architect and engineer's drawings that are in our engineering department's possession right now, did you get those created via money from the grant?
Yes. Well, we have to. Yes. That's part of the engineering, is part of those funds. So we get reimbursed every time we pay him on the engineering reports and the architectural drawings. That's part of the grant.
How much have you disbursed? Maybe just roughly.
I think it's $9,000.
Does that come out of the $250,000?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
So
It always costs more than you think it's going to. Believe me, it's usually twice as much as you think it's going to.
So when you get there, you might not have enough to build a building.
We've paid him. We've paid $19,240 to date, and they're near complete.
for the drawings of what you want to see constructed
Yes.
is near completion.
Yes, I think they were just having a few tweaks, comments, made sure things were labeled correctly. That there's very, very few changes, and then the engineering report was all about site plans, site development plan.
So you're months away from going.
I had to ask for an extension, another 6 months.
From before you're going to go to even RFPs for turning a screw.
I think that the RFPs are being developed right now for the construction.
And is the same architect developing or same engineer?
The architect is developing the RFP along, and then Shane reviews it to make sure it's all within our scope of.
Okay.
So you got 230 left. You can't build.
Shane and his shadow.
And just to be clear, with the grants, have you seen any wins, even in the region, that we can attribute to the Promise Zone? Or with the Promise Zone bonus points? Or?
There's stuff out there, but we have to think about the matching funds that go with it.
Right.
Because all the Promise Zone grants are federal, and you can't get waivers.
Right.
And it's usually 15% of the total amount.
Even region-wide, do we know of anyone?
For the
who
record,
has?
the Promise Zone has not cured cancer yet. Is that what?
No, that is
okay.
correct.
Just making sure because
Yeah.
it was
9
going
more
to.
years, but we have 9 more years.
Okay, I was just making
We've
sure.
got 9 more years. But there are grants out there. I've been
mortality,
looking at them on
get rid of
grants.gov.
AIDS.
Lots of federal things, but it requires a match.
Going to destroy adult and young literacy problems.
Right. Right.
Going to fix
It
everything.
just takes money.
Yeah, if you wanted blue eyes and you had brown eyes,
Do it.
Promise Zone had a grant for it.
All right. I promise.
They're gonna give
Any
it
further
to
questions?
That's it.
Charles could have hair if he just applied for the Promise Zone.
No. There's no grant for that. Number 4, contract with AIM Engineering.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Papanoff.
Thank you, Ms. Papanoff, as always.
Chairman, Shane Parker, Henry County Public Works Director, for the record. I haven't completed negotiations yet with AIM. We're still going back and forth. I should have something June 9th.
You beating them up, Shane?
A little bit.
I moved to accept option 1.
There's no, don't accept nothing.
Yeah.
That's what you wanted. You recommended.
I still have to negotiate it. You don't have the
We're
contract.
going to have to
with
hold.
Okay,
This is on hold.
so what are you doing up here?
Telling you not to do it.
You should have pulled it.
He is.
That's what I'm doing.
He's pulling.
Okay.
And what I wanted to ask you again is, when you do get going, is it going to take 4 to 5 to 6 months to do that little road?
Well, we got to design it first. Foley and Lewis, and DOT has to review it.
And it's going to take them that many months. I heard.
It will.
The ones in front of the ball field, he wants you to hurry.
If it's free money, you take the strings that go with it.
Yeah, that's right.
You can't speed them up.
I'm working on it.
You want to Keep going, Mr. Parker.
Okay, the next item for you is Henry County Municipal Services Benefit Unit Assessments for various entities. Doing a review, we noticed that we're not assessing HOAs, the Port Lobella Community Development District, Gerber Groves Water Control District, and churches.
I make a motion to allow y'all to notify the PA's office and get after that.
Okay.
Second.
Motion moved by Commissioner Turner, second by Commissioner Harris to option 1. Is there any discussion on the board?
Yep. Are you going to get ready to do the PSA along with this when coming? If you've been given something or not assessing something for years, when you start that process, there's going to be a flare up.
That's right.
Well, there's going to be public hearings. They're going to get notification. We're going to send out.
So you just said no.
Shane,
You haven't done anything from the
No,
planning.
not yet. We're making sure
We're
it's
getting ready to
first.
help y'all with.
If you're good with it, then we'll move down that path.
Shane,
We're throw y'all to the wolves.
why did we just now discover this?
I don't know why we didn't do churches in the past. We've been working on this for a few
I'm
years.
talking about all the rest of it.
For the record, I pointed this out in a budget hearing one year.
And nothing happened?
When I was irate about the MSBU and the lack of, because you won't believe me, but I randomly pulled 10 from the pioneer community, and 8 out of 10 were not getting an assessment for mosquito, trash, and there was another one that was recreation, and when I asked, well, we have always done that.
Right.
Not that anybody has ever told me, well, we've always done that. You just need to swallow that medicine or anything. But so I'm glad that y'all are rectifying this.
This should take care of the problem.
But it's going to get heated. I'm
So,
telling you.
like, who's been paying for the lights?
Well, you
For
have.
lights, the light owners. Well, if you're in Hooker's Point, it's the Hooker Point various lighting MSBUs. If you're in North Lobella, it's North Lobella residents.
But it was. That's why a lot of them were close to being upside down or
I
just
can find
really
the
struggling.
exact verbiage I was talking
My
about.
opinion.
Yeah, they're paying other people's.
Yeah.
That's Shane's fault.
Because I think they tried to bring it to us. We just kind of.
Let it go?
Yeah.
Okay.
We done with that? I can't remember. Did we do a motion on that one?
We
Look at the second page.
we have a motion to do that. Have we all voted on that motion?
We have not. We were questioning the sentence about the parsonage. Do you have a clarification on that for me, Commissioner Wills?
Well, I was asking, basically saying it receives a benefit from recreation. That is saying the parsonage does, but the parsonage is just a home, like any other home.
Right. If they have a home, we're saying if they have a home, then they're entitled to you. If that's where the preacher's living at, then the preacher has the right to go to the parks and visit everything. It's a residence.
And the preacher may have made babies too.
Could have kids.
So
And
those kids,
there's a benefit. If they don't have a parsonage, then they don't pay recreation. So.
I didn't say the priest.
You're going to tax the church and the parsonage, two separate on the same property?
No. Only a church will not be assessed for recreation. If they have a parsonage, they will be assessed for the parsonage. That's it.
Okay.
Does that make sense, Commissioner Wills?
Yeah,
That's better.
Yeah, not the church, but
Okay.
the parson.
Yeah.
That's better. Thank you.
The city already does that.
Oh, you watch. There's going to be people in here mad about that. Guarantee it.
So you better.
We've never done it. But it doesn't make it right. It's just one of those oversights. It's just like with our solid waste when we used to just send the truck out and pick everything up and run the tab up to $250,000 a year. We'd always done it, so we just did it.
Yeah.
You know, well, we're going to fix that this year on the contract as well.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Any further discussion on the motion? All those in favor of this motion say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That motion carries. Thank you.
Okay.
Pioneer Landfill.
Seeking board direction to either A, reconfirm the board's decision to move forward with installation of the fence utilizing Generations 13 LLC, or direct us to go out and request for quotes to use unlicensed installers, or do not install the fence, or just give me some direction of what you'd
I'd like to make a motion. I move to rescind the motion to accept the quote from Generation 13 LLC for installation of the fence at Pioneer Landfill adopted at the May 9th, 2017 meeting.
You move to rescind the motion, right? Is there a second to the motion to rescind? Motion to rescind has been moved and second. Is that debatable?
Yes.
It is debatable. Is there any motion? Is there any discussion?
4/5 approval. Excuse me,
Supermajority.
2/3 approval, which for you is 4/5.
Right. Gotcha. Okay, so basically rescind, we're doing away with that motion so that we can start over because we actually have a motion passed. So we're killing that motion. Is there any discussion or question?
Still in the motion that was passed.
That's right, exactly. That's right. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion to rescind, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That motion passed unanimously. Okay? We have a new motion?
Attorney Lapp, I apologize for not speaking to you about this prior to. Obviously, we had one bidder that's been conducting business with the county for 25 years, but unless you've been under an anthill or something, you would know that I have connections to that family. Is it proper for me to abstain on this motion? We're moving forward and make a declaration. I'm not going to benefit, but I went to a Florida Association of Counties class, and I don't remember what the lady's name was, but she said, if it all in doubt, state it publicly and abstain. So you don't go to prison.
Take the high road.
Yeah.
You won't get to go see the cows if you're in prison.
The connection you're talking about is not to a fence installer, but to the lessee.
Yes, sir.
The land.
Yeah.
Well, this action doesn't have anything to do with the lessee. This is about picking the installer.
Okay. All right.
We're not even picking, but deciding the process for how you're going to get installed, and then you'll be coming back again after they get the quotes to approve the installer. But still, that is not an action that relates to the lessee.
So we just need a new motion.
We need a new motion basically to allow staff to bid to unlicensed contractors.
Quotes as opposed to bid.
I'm sorry, to get quotes.
What we did last time, we request for quotes from unlicensed fence installers.
Right.
I make a motion to go out for quotes for unlicensed contractor for fence and pioneer plantation.
Just to be clear.
The reason why we're going with unlicensed is simply because this is an ag entity. It's not as if we're building something that has engineering documents or construction requirements that has to be set with. We're leaning on the expertise of our county engineer, and whoever he declares is the person that's going to provide oversight to build a 5-strand, corner post, X feet, this, that, and the other. But what people in Henry County have done for eons, we're going to do that now.
We put specs.
Okay.
We got to advertise
Yes, sir.
on the web so anybody looks at it, they can see what they have to construct. But there'll be a minimum qualifications that like references. You built fences for who?
Insurance.
And regardless of any relationships that I have with this, I'm still adamant about the county has to get control over this facility. I actually was a little bit irate mad with Mr. Parker whenever I went out there and looked at the swath of land that he created. But how ironic, we've had 2 fires in Pioneer, and we have no access to a lot of that area out there. So this is actually going to be a good thing, and I think that this is one of those places that's just begging for an accident to occur, and the county is going to be liable, and it's not even going to go to court. So
Now, to be
I'm
clear
glad
on
we're
some of
getting
that right of way that was cleared, when we were clearing a landfill perimeter fence, we cleared the Lakeview right of way.
No,
which was
yes, sir,
not
I
opened up,
understand. No,
and then we cleared Christopher Lane.
I'm not frustrated with anything, Shane, and I think that it's a good thing that we're doing it. And just on the landfill mound alone and some of the destruction that I've seen to the chain link fence and just a couple of those being destroyed, and you're gonna see a return on this all day long. So
you're gonna have to really watch if you got livestock in there.
Oh, absolutely! I guarantee you, stuff's gonna get shot, and/or fences are gonna get cut.
Gone, animals gone.
Yep.
We have a motion pending. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion from Commissioner Harris, second by Commissioner Byrd. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Parker.
All right, the next item I have for you is the update on the solid waste franchise agreement. I have been in negotiations with WSI, Progressive, whatever the new name is. I don't feel comfortable with numbers yet. I rebutted back to Mr. Wheatley. Mr. Wheatley's on vacation right now, but we're going back and forth. Things are going good. They're not bad. But my plan is to bring you the actual rates at the June 13th board meeting. So,
Shane, is it too much to ask having an aerial that shows us current day where cans are, what we're actually going to look like at the end of the day? And the reason why I'm driving at this is another public service announcement. I want our constituents to see that this is where we're at today with our solid waste hauler, and this is where we're going to be at post engaging in the new contract, and then also just the high points of, one thing that I was adamant about was when we do cut down an oak tree, the claw truck and how we're going to go about it. I want that built into that to the numbers, because I think that's something that we have to make that a value-added service that's key to Hendry County, and it's something that people do get here.
Right.
So I've kind of changed my tune a little bit as to where I was 5 or 6 years ago on that, because it makes sense to me. We're not 1.2 million people. We're not that many households. We should be able to handle that. You should be able to do that in literally, once or twice a month. That shouldn't be a big deal.
Right now, what we're doing is, I'm not to that part of the
Yes, sir.
negotiations. Right now, we're focusing on 2 days a week trash pickup, 1 day a week recycling with automatic cans, the large toters.
Yeah.
And then 1 day a week trash pickup, 1 day a week recycling. Let's just focus in on those numbers, get down to where we're in agreement, and then we'll go.
That's your big animal.
That's the big animal.
Yeah.
And then we're going to go to the
Yes, sir.
board pickup.
And then
They're going to go to the big cans?
Big cans right now, Wheeler, Port LaBelle, Hookers, and Harlem has large cans. Big cans all the way around, and then large recycle toters. I think they're like 65 gallons.
Anyway, going back to the Oak Tree deal and all that, the calls that we get is some 90-year-old man or lady, the tree limbs down, and they can't cut it up in little pieces like that, set it by the road. So we need some flex in there.
we do. I don't disagree. And
I mean, there's only a few people.
Yes, sir.
And they're all legit.
And I don't think that we have any contractors that are trying to abuse that process, that are cutting down people's trees on a voluminous amount, coming back, sitting them on the curb, and the county's having to foot that bill, Shane. And then when we do get, I think we ought to declare when we get into a tropical storm event or a hurricane event, then it becomes something where we're just, we ought to have that conversation right now moving forward.
We need to help them out.
Yep.
Save us money and make everybody happy.
That's what we're trying to do.
All right.
That's it.
That's
all
what
I
we
have.
need.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Shane.
Mr. Parker. Attorney Lamp?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. This is Cooperative Producers Water Control District. There are 298 water control districts, southwestern part of the county. There was a provision in the 1984 legislation that created them that required them to submit their annual budget to this board and get its approval every year. We can find no record of that happening. This kind of came to our attention through another means from the Commission on Ethics. And staff don't believe that we need to fulfill that role, and we ought to be out of that, and they do their business, we do ours.
Do they convene?
I think so. They're not responsive. They're not a responsive group. I think they're informal. I don't know if they have regular office hours. We don't get.
They don't correspond.
Yeah.
And there's no need for us to see their budget.
So what I'm suggesting,
Other than statutorily required.
it's yes,
That's what
by
I'm
special act
saying.
of the legislature, which does require a legislative act to
Right.
amend. And so what I'm suggesting as part of our package for 2018, that be a local bill that we ask as cleanup to get us out of that. See, an awkward part of it is we have to show them as a dependent special district on some financial reports that we file, and it's strange. We don't have any oversight over them, but they're a dependent district because we're approving their budget, but we're really not. And it's
Never have.
right.
Do we collect the taxes and it funnels back through us to them?
Oh,
Not even that?
no.
Well, certainly keep us on the legal side of it. I know
Right.
you
Well,
will
I'm
anyway,
trying to
but-
get the budget from them, and they
Right.
like I said, they don't
So
respond.
how do you cover yourself in that situation? Just make sure.
I think this year for our financial report, we're going to do something different as far as how we report them or tell about them or.
We should report them as a corresponding unit. I have to talk to Jeff and see if he's come up with anything.
He had some kind of way he was going to state it so that it was clear that we were not responsible for them, but we were reporting in some way.
Okay. All right. Yeah, just keep us in the legal, whatever.
Right. I do have one briefing item for you, not on the agenda here. On the YMCA agreement that you authorized us to move forward and enter into the relationship with YMCA, I prepared the interlocal, it's not an interlocal, it's actually an agreement with them to provide the service. One item that wasn't totally wrapped up at the meeting was the scholarship issue, and it just said that community support would provide scholarships, and then after that we thought, well, that's our endowment from U.S. Sugar that can help pay for that. And so the way that's set up is the money for that is distributed by action of the Hendry Coolison Recreation Board, which is meeting Thursday to discuss approving this. The reason I'm bringing it up with you is so that the rest of you who aren't on that board are aware that that's the intention, to do scholarships through the U.S. Sugar Endowment and we're going to include a provision in the agreement with YMCA that says that. So,
Y'all still have a board?
Yes, sir. We haven't met in forever. I'm good with everything that you've said, but I want to make sure that, and I will share this at the board meeting whenever we decide that, is that it's not a gift of sorts. It's you have to earn that scholarship, so to speak. I know that's not any merit on what you were saying, but yes. So.
What you mean they have to earn the scholarship? The scholarship is based on their income, and we use the waiver.
Who declared that? When?
It was declared at one of the meetings that we had. We talked about, you wasn't there, we talked about the YMCA meeting, and we was using the paperwork coming from food stamps and different things like that.
Who had that meeting? When?
We had a meeting.
Who's we?
We had a meeting with YMCA.
Who's we?
We, Jennifer, myself, Charles, I don't know if you was there.
Well, the official action of making the scholarship engaged has not been taken yet. We have to go back before this East Recreation Board first to see if we even have funds to hand out as a scholarship, and then the parameters of that scholarship is where that information will be provided.
Let me reword that. That's one of the things we discussed.
Okay, I got you.
So I'll rephrase that.
Well, I just want to make sure I am not. I go back to my own personal examples as a child growing up, and how many kids that I've helped facilitate do different things, be it going to college, be it getting a job, getting a certification, or buying a pair of cleats, whatever it may be. And I'm not saying this in any manner to toot my own horn, but I just think that there's so much more of a sense of fulfillment when that kid comes, or that child owns it, and engages the process and does something to get that benefit, other than, well, it's declared, therefore, and now you can go. Because what I've seen in so many times is that when you just give it, there's no onus. It doesn't hit their DNA like it does whenever they have to earn it. And I had an amazing conversation with Phil Pelletier. It's probably been 9 or 10 years ago, where he gave me an example that's exactly to the point that I'm making, whereas they would never turn a kid away in LaBelle West Rec for summer camp. He said, I just wasn't going to do it. As the director, I was not going to turn a kid away. He said, now that kid may help me line the baseball field. That kid may help me sweep up the gym. That kid may do some stuff. He said, but I didn't turn them away, and they earned it. And I'm not talking about a rigorous, thing where they have to show up and punch a time clock and all that stuff. I'm just saying the baby has to earn it to be able to engage in the process. That's it.
You don't have a problem with that. You were just saying how they got to the point of earning it to start with, to be eligible for it.
Right.
And you don't have a problem with them doing something to pay back or to be
Well,
involved.
I think tomorrow we'll be able to discuss that.
Okay.
Is it tomorrow?
Yes, it's tomorrow.
Thursday.
So based on the income.
Okay.
But the language that he using, I don't agree with it, so we'll deal with it Thursday when it's a proper
So you want to? No, I think it's a great time to have this discussion if we don't agree, because we can just hit some things right off. And while we're on that subject, I want staff to know that in moving forward, if there's a program that's being set for the county, I think we ought to avoid having one commissioner feel as if that's their program, so to speak, and they're setting the tone for how that's going to be set. No offense to Commissioner Byrd, but she said, we had a meeting and we're deciding how we're going to move forward with this. And one of the big selling points to me for East Rec has been it's going to service all of this kids. That's how I've been trying to sell it to my constituents. It's not going to serve just the Harlan community. Now, I know there's a reality, and probably 95% of the participants that are going to be in it are going to be from the Harlan community. But I'm hoping that this is a successful program, and that it's so successful that we want to emulate it in other facilities that we have, Pioneer being one of them, out of the second gate. And then we are able to go to Montura and show them how successful it's being. And they're either going to want to model some of the things that we're doing, or we want to all get on the same page. So.
And Commissioner Turner, it is here to serve the county, so it's not here just to serve Harlem. But I just think the wording would be changed just a little bit, the language that is coming forth in. But like I said, it'll be able to deal with that.
What specifically?
Well, the way he talk about earning, I mean, I'm not going to tell a 5-year-old, you come on and sweep the floor and you can stay in the gym, because that's the way I just received it. So it's the language that's being used to here. I got a kid that I know that if it wasn't for the program that's being set up, she wouldn't be there. But I'm not going to say, here, Georgia, you go sweep the floor and you can stay in the program, because that's just how I took it.
Well, mom and dad can sweep the floor,
Yeah, so-
but there has to be some buy-in. In my opinion, there has to be some buy-in from the participants. And if that's mom and dad engaging the process or whoever, you know, in some of the programs that I have and in some of the other things that I work and I've modeled off, like I think it's called the Lee County Posse. You know, every parent, every participant and every parent has to sign up that they're going to work, you know, concession stand. They're going to do 2 hours worth of duty or something. And in doing that, it reduces their fee that they're participating in, or it reduces the impact that they have, that they're going to have to not pay the same entry fees and stuff like that. I think that those are all great programs because it creates a sense of community, it creates a sense of ownership, and it's not just a county providing a service essentially for free. And that's what so many times we do.
So then
we're already behind the 8 ball. We're
parent,
already operating it at a loss.
When that parent comes in, and then the county have to pay for them to be, if they're not under that shadow, where they have to pay now for them to be fingerprinted to earn something, that's just more money out of the county. So, you know, like I said, it'll be a time to discuss it, and we will do so. So.
Okay.
I look forward to it.
Anything else, Attorney Lapp? Thank you. Next on the agenda is a hearing of the public. Does any members of the public wish to address the board at this time? Mr. Pathala, please come forward.
This is a kind of an old idea, but with the lobbyist being the subject, and also you're going to discuss soon ad valorem tax abatements. There was a discussion in the past, I don't remember exactly when, but the relationship between your development program and your lobbyist. Your development program, as it seemed to me, was a good idea of feeding the goals of the county and the values of the county to the lobbyist, and the lobbyist telling you what's possible to be done up there. And also the development office might have been able to generate materials and ideas and put down things that the lobbyists in Tallahassee could use. I see a lot of individuals going out on their own, pretty much like you're pretty much working on a program of vocational that is fundamental to economic development as a subject. But I kind of see you working alone within the school district, and you're doing great. But a lot should be coordinated because it's so central to things. And I don't see. I think it'd be a good time to discuss the contribution that development could make to the lobbyists, and the lobbyists could sit in on and inform your development people what's possible.
You mean EDC? Is that who you're referring to when you say development?
Yeah, your Economic Development Council.
Okay. I want to be clear.
And its staff of what they're capable of performing for the lobbyists to use in Tallahassee.
Okay. Thank you. Any further comments? Anyone else? Okay. Business by district. Commissioner Wills.
Just in, looking at the growth coming, like we've all been sitting here talking about, it's inevitable. I do believe that going forward, we need to make sure that we look for the right growth. We know the corridor is going to be amazing. Once it gets open, there's a lot of more businesses that are going to be coming into us here. The district, what I'm looking at right now, it's coming rainy season, so this side of the county is going to be buzzing. So you'll probably have a few mad folks up in here, and we're just going to point to Mr. Harrison and let him deal with it, since
Got time.
But as far as the district goes, staff's done some amazing things for the people in Felda. They've stepped up and done well. We thank you for the work out there in the Road and Bridge Department. Also, over on Howard Road, we've had some issues that you guys have stepped up and got some clearing done for us and fixed a roadway over there that was pretty bad where they were coming out of Glades County into Hendry County. And actually saw here where the light will be coming up soon. So I just want to thank staff for the work you're doing.
Very good. Thank you. Commissioner Byrd?
Yes, I believe I gave everyone a letter on next board meeting, June the 5th. There'll be a motion moved for Mrs. Hopper that would be a member of the Harlem Library Advisory Board, just to bring that to your attention. And also, I would like to thank the board for the YMCA coming to the community. They're very pleased with it, even working on the teen center, a place that our young people have a place to be, a place where they'll feel safe. It'll help the crime rate. It'll give them a safe place. So we just want to say thank you.
Awesome. Very good. Is that it? I think I had just a couple. And Mr. Parker, I forgot to mention to you earlier, and I didn't see it on here, and it may be that I just missed it. Last week we had that wreck on 27, and there was so traffic was diverted around that stretch of 720 from the railroad tracks to the county line. Has anyone driven that lately?
What is it now? From 720? Yeah, that's scary.
Yes, that specific from the railroad track up to the railroad tracks is decent, not bad. From the railroad tracks on, that's worse than four-way drive.
North or south?
North of the railroad tracks. Going north, when you go over the railroad tracks like you're going to Uncle Joe's, it's not a maybe
just before you hit the Glades County line.
A quarter mile at most. But I'm telling you what, that was scary. I mean, like it was.
That's a bad segment. I don't remember exactly how far we're past railroad tracks, but that's on the muckland. That's pretty bad right now.
Yeah, it's bad. I mean, like the road is caving off into the ditch, and if something would have happened and you'd have been in a ditch, and semis and buses and all were on it.
I'll check it out this week or have a superintendent, but
yeah,
that's not uncommon in that area and on Bloomberg Road.
Just because all the muck.
Yeah,
just settles.
Yeah, it's bad.
Even when they redid the portion in Glades County through, it's already starting to have problems.
That's right.
It's I would say the only road that's comparable to that is Hooker's Point Road going east past Art Lawrence. That's real bad too.
Old US 27.
Yeah. No, not old US 20. Actual Hooker's Point before it goes around to US 27.
Believe it or not, we paved that road
probably
maybe 10 years ago.
Yeah,
and it's
right
already
at that.
sinking down, cracking. White as your hair.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
Thank you.
exact
If you'll just ride it and look at it.
We'll do.
Thank you. Got one for you, Ms. Embridge. And I know this is a continued discussion, but it was in the news the last couple of days, and it was some of our neighbors and brethren on the same diocese in local counties dealing with the tiny house movement, and it's exploding. And they're starting to pop up in neighborhoods. And I know that you'd already talked about having some language to protect us with regards to where they could and couldn't be in constructing them. So I look forward to hearing back from that so that we don't get caught in a situation where we're have them where we don't. You don't, whatever. If you want to say something, I didn't want to catch you off guard with it.
Well, just so you know, right now, if they're on a trailer, they can't locate anywhere except for in an RV park.
Okay.
So we are protected from that perspective.
Okay. Good.
But they want their own village.
Yeah. And some of them are in some of the communities where they're putting.
They want their own
lots.
village. They can come in for a planned development rezoning, and we can assess
We'll do
it.
that then.
Just north of the river there by the boat ramp, probably be a nice place.
Yep, I agree. I agree. Some pretty luxuries over there. Thank you. That's all. Commissioner Harris? We did it already. Nothing?
Already done, man.
Let the record show Commissioner Harris has nothing to talk about. Commissioner Turner?
I hope that the governor signs the budget and doesn't veto
I do too.
anything. Thanks to Mr. Joseph Spratt for all those years of public service and being our lobbyist for 11 years. I didn't realize that he had been our lobbyist that long. And I think that we're having some really good discussions on a number of issues. I hope that we'll continue to work with staff and give them the direction that they need from a policy standpoint. When's our next budget discussion?
13th, I think.
Is it that June meeting?
Yes, sir. It is in June. The anticipated release of the county administrator's recommended budget is to be to the county commission by Friday, June 9th, according to our schedule. And the recommended budget workshop at the previous meeting, last meeting of this board, was scheduled on June 26th at 9 a.m. So here in LaBelle.
June 26th.
June 26th.
Not going to have anything on the 13th.
No, the 13th, the workshop, we had scheduled the recommended budget workshop on the 13th, but we need to talk about the ad valorem tax abatement policy. We've been plugging away at that thing for 2 years. And Attorney Lapp, myself, and Brent Cutler with the EDC, we just met today. We think we have it whipped. We need to get that in front of you ASAP because the policy we currently have is just not sufficient.
Okay. So the budget. We'll have the numbers to look at.
Yes, sir.
The 9th, but we won't have a meeting until the 26th.
Okay.
Okay.
Chairman, I will be in D.C. the 4th through the 8th, I believe it is.
June?
Yes, sir, for leadership training.
Awesome.
And
County,
then,
state FAC stuff?
yes, sir,
Good
Board
for you.
Association of
Awesome.
Counties. And then, obviously, we have one more meeting, or 2 more meetings, I think, between now and our FAC event.
No, just the 13th.
Just
the
the
27th one is during FAC.
Okay. Well, I don't know. Has everybody? I think everybody signed up to go to that.
I think so.
You gonna be able to make it, Commissioner Wills?
27th?
Yes, sir. Good. Well, I hope that y'all will engage that process. I'm looking forward. It's a close one. It's right down the road from the house, so it'll be a good time for all of us. So we'll be able to learn and glean some information from our colleagues throughout the state. And I'll just say that at the FAC events that I've attended, even though the formal training is good, I think the most important thing that you get is the one-on-one conversations with your colleagues throughout the state and just hearing different ways of how they skin stuff. So that's it.
That has been very helpful. Getting a lot, like you said, a lot of feedback and some of the stuff they've dealt with already.
Yeah.
Like you said, we're not reinventing the wheel. We're
Yep,
able to
that's exactly
feedback
right.
on, and that is good stuff.
And at least when you hear some of the sorrowful things we're going through, they're going through the same things. There's nothing nobody can do but just take it. So, that it?
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Turner. Anything else? We're all good? Meeting adjourned.